Hi, everyone. So I'm working outside today. It's a beautiful sunny morning, beautiful sunny day in Joburg. Um, Today's lesson is understanding that life is unfair. Life is unfair. And I'm bringing this one up because, yes, as a person who's in their 40s, has had over 24 years working experience, I've seen a bit of life. And having grown up as a Gen X, I think one of the first key lessons is because we actually also grew up in such a tumultuous time in South Africa. One of the first lessons was understanding that life is not fair, right? And even if you study life, you can see that um, in as much as we want fairness, it is actually survival of the fittest. It's all about flexibility and being adaptable, adaptation as one of the skills that you have to learn as you journey through life because life is unfair. And that's how you build your resilience and your grit and your resourcefulness by understanding that you have to learn how to successfully navigate this life, navigate the environments that you are in, navigate your friendships, navigate your love life and relationships, navigate your family, navigate all these other spaces with the understanding that things don't always happen the way you expect them to, and they are not always happening in a fair way. And I'm saying this because, yes, as I've said, that in working with young people from a mentoring and coaching point of view, in particular when it comes to leadership development and also helping them to professionalize as they enter into the workplace and also work through, um, some of the challenges of the workplace, is that with the younger ones, I'm seeing that there's an expectation of fairness, and it's not going to be there. It really is not going to be there. Your job is to create fairness for yourself, right? And how do you do that? You need to do that by playing the hand that you are dealt. I think that's how they say it a lot overseas and also, in the Americas. I think they like to say, play the hand that you are dealt. And another way to say it is, you have to learn how to play the cards that you are dealt. Okay. And what I'm finding is with young people, a lot of you guys are focusing too much on the hands that other people are dealt. Okay, so you were born in the township, maybe your circumstances were not the best, but the problem is you are too worried about the other people over the fence and how they're living and what they've got. And then you forget that you have to actually play the cards that you are dealt and build from there, even if it is the most disadvantaged um, place or environment that you are in. Okay. Granted that I didn't grow up as disadvantaged as my parents were. My parents grew up dirt poor, both of them, on both sides. And by the time I was born, I would think that I would have classed them as working class, really, but it wasn't great. We were still in the townships. We were still having the issues and grappling with the struggles of people who live in the townships, right? But the trick is not to let that discourage you. Okay, yes, it's not ideal, but when you understand that life is not fair and that you are there to play the cards that you are dealt, you need to use the cards that you have to start maneuvering in the game of life so you can get to the place that you need to be at. All right. So I have children, so I don't think they'll ever understand that kind of life. Okay, because they didn't grow up the way I did, and they definitely didn't grow up the way my parents did. So nature constantly seeks to improve on itself, right? That was said by one hip hop rapper called KRS One, and that has stayed with me since I was a teenager because Life is about progress. It's not about regress. Okay. So when you are constantly comparing yourself to others and not really taking a checklist and checking in on what you have and what you can build on, that does not represent progress. It's going to represent regress in your life, right? You're constantly competing and comparing instead of focusing on yourself and saying, okay, what do I have in my arsenal? What are the things that I can use, right? Together with other people that can help me to get me where I want to be, instead of wallowing in the pain and disappointment of not having been born with the cards that other people were born with. Okay. And I mean, it's a lesson that I already had, but I think I just thought, let me drop it today because I was watching a video on YouTube where, you were having people who were complaining. I mean, it was something that was happening overseas, that certain people who were rich went to other people's parties who were also rich. I mean, birds of a feather flock together. That's another lesson that we learned. So you have to expect those kind of things. It's not going to help you if you are sitting there wallowing, mulling, getting stressed, getting upset at the fact that other people are better than you. Okay? Doesn't matter how they got there. Your job is to focus on you. You be better. You be better. And how you're going to do that is understanding that, yes, life is unfair. Okay, and it's probably going to always be that way, right? Because there are levels to these things. There are leagues that people operate in. And so just because somebody else is in a better league or in a higher league than you, there's no reason to hate on them. There's no reason for you to be frustrated. Take frustration out of the equation and take inspiration. Okay, use that desire to fuel you, not for you to be hating on them, because they are also playing the cards that they were dealt. Okay, so you went to public school and they went to private school, so what? That might seem unfair to you, right? But perhaps you have a growth path that is different to theirs. Okay, that's why it's important to just learn to play the cards that you are dealt. It's the same like when you are playing Crazy Eight or poker, right? Okay, you're not going to get anywhere in the game, in that card game, by trying to figure out and you're looking over everybody's shoulders because you want to see what they have been dealt and how they're going to play. It's time wasting, it's resource wasting. Okay, and if you're a young person and you see that you're doing that, you have to stop that, because that's just going to hinder your progress. You are going to stagnate, and stagnation also causes frustration. And so you're going to be in this vicious cycle, right? So that's something that you really need to stop doing, in terms of feeling aggrieved when other people are born with perhaps a silver spoon in their mouth, right? Because you might know, you don't even know their struggles with them being somebody who's born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Learn that life is unfair. Start from there and start building by playing the cards that you have been dealt.